reality. And that's the meaning of life. If you get that, you're fine. Welcome. Well, anyway, Three Jewels uses as the foundation the philosophical inquiry about undoing the suffering side of the human condition. Like, how does reality truly work, and can I work it to my advantage, to wake up, to Buddha, wake up, to wake from the illusion, the way things seem to work, which always gets me into trouble. Yeah, when I start a new relationship, it looks good. And then you have to confront something about it. And in that confronting, if you don't understand what you're confronting, we're more likely to create suffering because we don't understand what's actually going on, what makes us genuinely happy, because we're not dealing with the actual code of the matrix. So Buddhism, wake-upism, Buddha, to wake, is the inquiry onto how do I get to the real cause of things here? Because what I think are the causes of things don't seem to work all the time, which means they don't work. You like something, you try it, you keep liking it, you keep having it, you keep hoarding it, and the further away it goes, or it breaks or disappears. Yeah. Or you don't like something, and you push it away, push it away, push it away, and it gets closer and closer and closer. Sometimes it goes away, sometimes it gets closer. But mostly the strategies we apply to try and get the things we don't like away from us don't work all the time. Therefore, they don't work. And sometimes getting the things we like to come towards us don't work all the time. Therefore, we don't know what makes it work. We're guessing most of the time. And if we're really honest, that's true for every job you've ever had. Like, I like this job. No, you don't. Right? I hate this job. No, you don't. You know? I love my partner, not all the time. I hate my partner, not all the time. So Buddhism's like, let's investigate what the hell's going on. Is there something else happening? And if you can get that, then maybe you're actually working at the code of the algorithm which creates your reality. Until then, we are lost in an illusion of what seems to happen. I don't like you, I push you away, you're on my mind as something horrible. I've got something horrible in my mind. You might be doing your own thing, sorry, point at you, I'll point over here. Right? So it's that inquiry. And so the reason I say that is because A, all of the work Three Jewels does is founded on trying to understand the collection of works that comes from all the Buddhists from the time of the Buddha, 500 BC till now. And we're nerdy about it. We're so nerdy about it. We're like, what is the ultimate definition of reality? Capital R reality. There seems to be apparent reality. And actually, who was I talking to today? I think Susan I was talking to. I don't know if you're here, Susan. But Tibetans have this org chart of all existing things, all knowable things. We would call it the universe, right? But there's this really nerdy chart of anything and everything that could be, all knowable things. And we're like, okay, let's start with all knowable things. And they're like, you can divide that into two types of all knowable things. Changing knowable things and unchanging knowable things. Hold on, how many things are in the changing knowable things? 99.999% repeater of all things that we interact with are changing. 3 things are not changing that we can list so far. So they keep adding to this list. And then within the changing things, there's physical things. Oh, material things, yeah. That's where physics in the science world fits in. Yeah, there's mental things that don't have physical, like your emotion, a sensation, a thought, a memory, a feeling. All these things that don't have a tangible physical thing as its basis. And things that are neither that or that. And within each of those 3 categories are subcategories, and within those categories are subcategories. So Buddhists, wake-uppers, are deeply invested in investigating the nature of existence. And tonight's talk, the talks that I do on Tuesday nights, is trying to not be nerdy, like I'm trying not to talk philosophical debate between the three schools of dependent origination, boring for most of us. And how do we make that inquiry applicable to everyday existence? Because it should be. If we're to wake up from the things that hurt us, and if we are to enjoy and non-attach to the things that serve us, how do we do that? And that should apply to me today, to the way I have a drink of coffee, to the way I have a friendly word between Alex, is that bad? And her cough drops. Yeah, good, I did it. Right? Is there something that I can do with my mind so it's not lost in the illusion of how things might be, but is actually engaged with what is? Why? Why is that important? Because if you work at the foundation of true existence, the way things really work, then you're gonna get unbroken results because you're working with the main units of reality rather than a corner of the units of reality, which is why things break. Have I lost anyone already? Everyone's like, boring. No? What I want to talk about, I've been on this theme about, so I already gave you a hint, right? Within changeable things, there's mental and physical. Those two things you can relate to. You have a mind and you have a body, yeah? You are not your body and you are not your mind either. And somehow you think it's my mind and it's my body, right? And if someone hurts this body, it hurts more than if we hurt that body over there. It's not mine, right? So my body is more important than your body. So we could say there's mental and physical stuff going on. And so in the Buddhist inquiry, which we obsess over here, and then we filter it to all the meditation work we do here, all the yoga work we do here, all the service work we do here, and all the study work we do here. Tonight, I want to talk about that relationship between mind and body. And I've been raving on about the narratives we tell ourselves. Yeah, because our minds, not brains, okay? According to Buddhists, your brain, the physical part of you, is just the body. It's a past record of what your mind did. It's the solidified highways of all your obsessive thinking. That's brain. It's the thing that now gets you into an inertia or a conducive, that makes it more likely, the highways that we build in our brain, which is a record of what we've been habituating in our minds, right, makes it more likely for us to live that experience over and over. Am I making sense? Yeah? So for Buddhists, brain is not the mind. Brain is just physical. And so everything physical is intricately connected to the mental. And to try and unravel those two is to understand your nature. And when you understand your nature, you get free from attachments from things, wanting things to be a specific way because you misunderstood them, or pushing things away you don't like because you also misunderstood them. And so that I've been on about the narratives we build in our heads, in our minds, where you are certain the world is a certain way, and you're primed to think that when something happens. You're all living in some kind of script, me too, right? Some kind of script that makes it easier for us to make sense of the multitude of things going on. So instead of really thinking, what's going on? How much is the temperature? What's the light level? How many humans are here? How many breaths am I going? Is my heartbeat rate at the right pace? Am I sitting up correctly? The words, do they make sense? Like, instead of trying to make sense of all of it, we have these shortcuts that create a frame around a reality that isn't the reality. A shortcut necessarily cuts away all of the reality, and we get this little story, and it's easier for us to have a peaceful everyday if we just think about that reality and we mistake it for what is. What is 1,000 gazillion moments of awareness looking at everything around you. You can't handle that. Your brain, your mind can't handle that. It's too much information, so we need a shortcut. physiologically speaking, you would say that the brain uses something like 25 to 30% of all your body's energy to process information. And a tiny sliver of that is conscious, the rest of it is subconscious. That's how you would explain that physiologically. Same thing is happening mentally. We're creating stories, narratives about what is going on, and that what is going on is not what's really going on. And so Buddhists like nerding out about the capital R really, what's really going on. To find that out, you remove the narrative. You drop the story in your head and you observe what's going on. And the story is not just about out there, but the story is also about who are you listening to this narrative. It's really trippy, it's really awesome. So I've been on about these narratives. We get stuck around some narratives, especially narratives that are heightenedly emotional for us. Someone hurt you, you're like, I'm remembering that. Yeah, Alex again, sorry. Stop, you're not having a cough drop. No. She didn't offer me a cough drop, so I'm obsessing about it. No, my narrative is going about the cough drop, I'm joking. So, and you've all done it, right? Someone hurt your feelings, you're like processing. They only hurt your feelings once, and you're like hurting your feelings 1,000 times. Next time we think about them, feelings hurt. Next time we think about them, feelings hurt. Someone likes you. Who started it? You started it or she started it? You started it, yeah, okay, good. Someone likes you, gives you an invitation to hang out at the sunrise or sunset? Sunrise, yeah. And then they're fighting about who invited who, right? I instigated that. Yeah. And you remember that, like, oh, maybe she likes me after that sunrise. Maybe I like her after, like him after that sunrise. And you obsess about that story. Now that story isn't the sunrise and isn't the reality, but it serves us to some degree. So the narratives serve us. It helps us deal with a very complex reality. And so oftentimes people come to Three Jewels to say, listen, I'm hurting in a way that I haven't hurt before. And all the conventional things aren't helping anymore. Rarely do people come, I'm having the most ecstatic moment of my life, and I would like to share that with everyone. That doesn't ever happen. I mean, it might happen maybe every now and then. Right? But mostly people arrive here either by chance, I was walking past and I saw a sign that said, this is a sign. And I thought, this is a sign. And then I walked in, we have this sign that says, this is a sign outside. Right? And so there's something that made them walk in. Right? So there's some people that do that. They're like, oh, it's just nothing was happening. And then this is a sign. This is a sign. And then they walked in. But mostly people come here, something else is going on. I know that was the case for me. Looking for answers that you can't get in the normal way anymore. Like drinking doesn't help anymore, or the drugs don't help anymore, or, obsessively working doesn't help anymore, or whatever. And you've pierced through the illusion somewhat. The narratives that used to help you aren't helping you. Yeah? You've still got a bunch of narrative that you've scripted throughout all the years of your life in trying to make sense of it. They're still somewhere in you, all the little actions that you've ever done that write the narrative you live in, that get you in character when a certain situation comes up. And then when that stops working, some people go, oh, maybe I should meditate, or maybe I should do yoga with Stephen. I don't know. Stephen will kick your ass. And if you're lucky, you recognize that it's something in you that is shifting and not dependent on a place like Three Jewels or some other place, right? Yes, a book will help, but it's always your mind deciding that that is meaningful. And I think that's what's awesome about wake-upism. I'm restraining from saying Buddhism because it has connotations still of I have to be Buddhist, right? I'm not Buddhist like that, a dogmatic person that has a religious practice. I have a spiritual practice that's got to do with my inner world. And thank God, no, Buddhists don't believe in God. You get the meaning. Thank me, no, thank goodness that my mind was able to Buddha wake up a little bit to say, oh wow, maybe it's not in the books, or maybe it's not in this place. Maybe something in my mind said, this seems meaningful. I have hope. I can change this. Or I can understand how this would change. And to me, that's wake-upism. Tiny moments of wake yourself up from living in a narrative that has stopped working. Yeah? So I've been raving on about that, and the metaphor is getting really good every Tuesday, where, you know, you're the character that you developed, and then whenever the movie's playing out right, you're in that character and you won't break character, right? Like we won't. When you're angry, you're a particular flavor of angry, yeah? And certain things get you angry. When you're in love, you're a particular way of, sorry. Don't worry, they'll be angry later. When you're in love, within a year, you personally are a particular kind of in love. Also a narrative. Both are real, okay? According to Buddhism, both are real. They're just not ultimately real. We mistake that person for being the reason I'm in love. It's like mistaking the soil for the seed that made the plant grow. If I collect just the right soil, all these plants will come. Plants don't come from a condition like the soil or the water or the sunshine. Plants come from a key cause, a principal cause, the seed. You can put all the soil you want together. Unless you have a seed, no plant. You can put a seed on the concrete and it might try and live for a minute and then it will die. But plants come from seeds. Experiences in your narrative come from mental movements in your mind. The way you frame your reality creates the frame of the reality you step into. That's why you fall in love in a particular way or with a particular person and the rest. Until it doesn't work. And then we are lost. And that's what wake-upism is really cool about. Is a bunch of nerds for the last 2,500 years who have nerded out on what's the nature of my mind? How does my mind create this reality? And then they get obsessively compulsive about minute causes and conditions that create your reality, beginning with mental movement, yeah, and then exploring all of reality. And it's all about an ultimate wake-up, enlightenment, nirvana, a state, and all those are big words and we all have some story about them, but enlightenment, nirvana, Buddhahood, all relate to a state of being that is completely free and void of any afflictive states of mind. No negativity arising in your mind, regardless of the conditions. And you are forced to not even experience conditions as harmful anymore. And wake-upists intellectually prove that that's a possibility. If you've ever been happy, and then you've ever been unhappy, then you have the technology to be happy and be unhappy. And if, remember that big chart that I told you about all knowable things, 99.99% repeater are changing things, then your mind, which has happy and unhappy in it, are changing things. The minds that we think we own are changing things. They write a script, but they don't have to write the same script. We can change the script. And tonight I'm going to nerd out a little bit if I can. Yeah? I used to be a little shy about discussing wake-upism, Buddhism. You know, let's get rid of anxiety. Okay, good. Let's get rid of anger. Okay, good. Let's get rid of jealousy. Okay, good. Let's amplify compassion. Okay, good. Right? And that's a nice, safe way to stay human. And so the way I'd like to nerd out, if I can, is we get ourselves locked in some box. I shared this with someone today. We get ourselves locked in some box of our narrative, and we rarely step outside the box. We're forever trying to negotiate our reality from inside the frame, the narrative, the character that we've developed over time. We rarely can step out and see the box from outside. And when we do, we usually see it with the box thinking that we came out of the box with. So all we do is we create another box to look at the little box inside our new box. Right? Because, and the reason I say that, and you get what my metaphor so far, right? We're in a box of thinking, a box of reality. Things can only be this way. And then you'll get stuck. You're like, oh my God, my box is half black and half white. Now, if I do this, it's terrible. And if I do this, it's terrible. I'm stuck in this box. Now I'm depressed. Life is terrible. You get stuck in impossible things that can't be solved from inside the box because it's too small. It doesn't encompass everything. So by definition, it's not enough. It's broken. You're not in everything. And so you might get brave and like, break this stupid box. It'll take me 5 years meditating and doing whatever. But oftentimes we look at a box within and to me that's dogma in most systems. Now I've got a new box that explains different things. Look at that box, stupid box. You're in another box looking at it. What's it, and the way I want to nerd out is, what's it like to really, really be outside the box? To be in the overarching thing of all knowable things. Because Buddhists get nerd out about that. They're like, okay, so you can get rid of depression. Yay, congratulations. You're still going to die. And I'm not saying it to freak you out or upset you. It's just the truth. At some point, this thing you think is you're going to have to say goodbye to all your favorite clothes, all your favorite shoes, all your favorite friends, all your favorite photos, memories, Instagram accounts, TikToks, the silly dance, right? Honestly, at some point you have to say goodbye to your hair. Yeah? There's this joke in Tibetan that the shirt on your back is going to go look for a new owner once you're dead. Damn. I'm buying really good shirts for the next bastard. Yeah. Sorry. All this to say is, let's look at reality, capital R reality, what really is. Like, stop playing a game within a box, if you're interested, right? Like, the nerding out of wake-upism is that. If you're really interested at finding this sustainable, expansive, panoramic sense of all things, and not be shaken by fear and attachment and the whole, and be tumbled in the, now I'm mixing metaphors, in the box that you created within the box. You really have to understand the way you and reality engage. And that's really the point of wake-upism. And for those of you who are doing meditation teacher training for the next 8 weeks, that's the real meaning or point of meditation. There's no other reason to meditate than to slow down all the noise and get to see really, with logic first, what is. Logically look, and you do it small at the beginning. What made me angry? Okay, let's rewind, fast forward, rewind, find where anger arose. And if you want a shortcut, it ain't the person that screamed at you or that did the thing. It ain't. The soil didn't make the plant. It maybe contributed to the seed growing, but it didn't make it. Anger, the ripening of anger, frustration, or any negative emotion at all, is a movement of your mind. And since your mind is changing, it doesn't have to continue. Unless you have a habit to continue it, which is, how do you plant seeds of anger? Get angry. And it seems upside down. So I'm giving you a shortcut to all of Buddhist practice because I want to nerd out to something more. Yeah? How do you get rid of negative states of mind? Stop them. Basically. I can't. She hurt me. Sorry, Alex. She didn't give me the cough drops. What a Bad person. It started with B, see? Bad person. And Alex might not have known that that was going on in my head, right? But my mind kept a beautiful record of that mental movement. Aggression towards a person. Mental aggression. She don't eat the results of that. I eat them. My mind keeps it. And it grows, and it grows, and it grows. Those mental movements in Buddhist thought is called karma. Defined as the movement of the mind and what follows. So all the stories that your narrative is writing, you get to step into that reality tomorrow and tomorrow and tomorrow. Because I might have said a bad word to Alex, right? You didn't give me the cough drops, you bad person. Right? And I might have said it aggressively. But if Alex's mind doesn't have the narrative to be bothered by a stupid old guy with no hair and a beard accusing her of upsetting him because of no cough drop, she might have just laughed it off and gone, oh, poor old man, or whatever, like, you know, or what an idiot, or, maybe I'll look for it. Like, she could have had 1,000 thoughts based on my stimuli. Her response isn't fixed, it's changeable. And what she responds creates her future reality. What I just did is going to create my future reality. Aggression towards something because I didn't get something. So what happens later? My experience of the world is framed by that little box I created within my box. Am I losing people, talking too many metaphors? You're all looking like, okay, that's me projecting. If that's true, and there's reasons for those of you that have been here before, karma and emptiness, blah, blah, blah. That's why a moment can be interpreted 1,000 ways. It's dependent on the person experiencing it. It's not essentially this thing. If that's true, then you could not respond to anger with anger, and over time you stop planting seeds of anger in your mind, and anger must disappear because there aren't any causes for it. And if you want to go faster, because that could take a long time, because you've been angry at people a lot, and that's all coming, and it'll come as in the illusion of it's out there making you angry. And unless you see that, which you can only really see in meditation, you can see it intellectually while I'm speaking, but to really see it, it's got to be in meditation. Yeah, safe little space where you can play with the simulation and to extremes until you get it. Visceral understanding. But that can take a long time. So if you want to go faster, Buddhist thought says it's not enough to not be angry at anger. If you want to go faster, what would you want to plant when something occurs to you if you don't want anger but you want happiness? What must you plant in the face of something negative? Some goodness. So here's a terrible Alex who didn't share, and I'm angry. And if I'm a wake-upist, I'm going to go, hold on, that anger means I must have not shared in the past somehow and been angry about something. Those things are arising in my mind. They must have been caused by other moments in my mind. Whether she means it or not, whether she's trying to be, none of my business. Her business, sorry, Alex, we just met. Like, she's going out to buy cough drops. Yeah. I must respond to that with some kindness, even if it's the kindness of, oh, maybe she didn't know, or maybe she wishes she could. Yeah. Because I then choose the script for my next narrative at that moment. And it's much more powerful because I'm heightened. I want to punch her in the face, sorry. But instead, I've changed the narrative so drastically that it leaves a strong imprint. The pen is really writing the narrative. And that creates my future narrative. And if I keep doing that over and over, I can only see people that don't give me their cough drops as blissful. You see? There you go. You want Buddhism. No. Now, if we go there, and that's the assumption that we've been studying here in classes on Thursday with Sarah and Earl, in meditation and yoga classes with Dharma talks. The premise is basically what Jesus said, do unto others, and then it'll be okay. Whatever you want in your life, do that towards others. You're rewriting the script, and that must be your reality. Yeah, but it didn't happen immediately. Nothing happens immediately. Don't be stupid. But I planted really loving seeds to Alex, and then yesterday, and then tomorrow, someone didn't give me something, and I got angry. Yep, don't be stupid. You don't go plant tomato seeds and then instantly go, where's my tomato salad? It takes time. How long? Until you get tomato salad. That's how long. How long do I have to be kind before the world appears kind to me? Until the world appears kind to you? Yeah, but why isn't there a defined time? Because each of you have your own little mountain of hatred, your own little mountain of not sharing, your own little mountain of anger, frustration, jealousy, and in fact the Wake Uppers list 84,000 mental afflictions that we have to work through. You don't have 84,000 moments. That takes a long time. So let's go faster. Something hurts me. The response is, at least don't hurt back. A faster response is, act with kindness. And then there are other techniques which are a little trippy. But you'll get a faster response. Actually, I'll tell you a story. I met my partner, Stephen, who just taught the class 9 years ago. We celebrated recently 9 years of bliss. Not true. Yeah. He won't mind me sharing this. He shared it and I shared it often. Stephen's narrative and character was the main quality of his narrative was jealousy. I'm not lovable. I'm not worthy of being loved. And so, I don't know why, as soon as I met him, I just adored him. Like I completely adored him, for real. Like, instant. But I'm a wake-upist, so I know this is coming from some goodness that I've planted in the past, to have this experience of complete love to that someone. See, now I love you. Yeah, I'm just pointing that way, Alex. But it wasn't reaching him from his view. Like, I knew my feelings. And he would play like, okay, let's be friends and hang out and be boyfriends and whatever. So he would do the thing, but the narrative was, I'm not worthy. Yeah, you can't love me, really. And so I'd go on long business trips and come home. And I didn't know this, but he would search all my diaries for proof that he wasn't lovable, that I loved someone more. And he found plenty of proof. Like, I write a diary of my mental afflictions and so every time I've fallen in love or had feelings of love, and there's a lot of love in my diaries. I'm easy to love. I'm easy to step into love. Yeah. And so every time I'd come home, he'd like want to fight me about, but you wrote this about this lover. You didn't write this about me. Like, he's looking for proof. His jealousy was overwhelming. And it took a long time to reassure him. And no reassurance was doing. I'm like, at the end of the day, you have to think for yourself and meditate on, why would you feel this way? I'm loving you. Yeah. And we've had to have like the conversation several times. I adore you. I think you're amazing. I don't want to be with anyone else. It wasn't enough. It wasn't reaching. So I'd go away. He'd look more evidence. And then underneath my meditation altar, there's this chest with a padlock. He found it. It's all the love letters of all my previous lovers. Like, stunning. Some had written a love letter on their underwear, and the underwear was in there. Create like stunning collection, evidence of, sorry about the underwear image, but stunning collection of what humans can do with each other. They can demonstrate their love. So for me, it's not attachment on that X or that X. I kept them as evidence to remind me that I am capable of that kind of love. And so would sit under my meditation table just because I know it would be down there, and it'd be like, the poor bastard, Stephen found it. It was like drugs for him. And then all the good work that he had done up to that day just got destroyed, because there were some pretty stunning declarations of love, like 30-page poetry, like it was like a ton of evidence that I had loved other people and that other people had loved me dearly. And he wasn't good enough for that. He couldn't match that kind of love, not a chest full of love letters. Poor bastard. So the work that he started doing, because he really wanted to practice this wake-upism in relation to jealousy. I'm like, well, you can't be angry, you can't be jealous if you want to get rid of jealousy. So what would be the opposite of being jealous at all these people? And it's like, revering them? I'm like, yeah. So I invited him to go befriend all my exes. And maybe like get close to them. And he did, the bastard. I don't think I could have done it, right? He totally did. He hung out with 2 of my exes and became really good friends. Then they started doing photo shoots on the weekend, and now they're all together and I'm outside and I'm like, should I be jealous? But the only way that he combated that terrible state of mind where you're not worthy and you're terrible, it's not to do what our impulses say, because the impulse comes from the illusion. The impulse is reject, hate, push back, point, you're to blame. The answer is upside down. It doesn't make sense to us in the box. The answer is go and adore the people that adored me. And he did. He's still friends with them. I'm not. I hate them. No. Only kidding. Only kidding. I don't hate them. Joking. Joking, Jenna. Yeah. All that to say, you can get rid of strong afflictive narratives that you think you are. You're not fixed. You really can. Even obsessive things about states of being. You're not fixed. It doesn't have to be that way. Even though that's true, it requires a shit ton of work. A lot of work that is uncomfortable. You've got to keep jumping outside the box, and then you're drawn back in by the next moment. You've got to jump outside the box. And I promised that I wanted to talk about, I talked a lot. I want to talk about what Buddhists really nerd out about. What do all the monastics do in the monastery as they debate for 4 hours every night, meditate for hours at a time, go on 3-year meditation retreats? What are they really doing? They're saying, if that's true, if I can get rid of jealousy, if I can get the narrative out of the way that I'm not good enough, or if I can work on that, okay, fine. I'm going to have to do the same work to reframe anything else. So let's reframe everything. And they work to reframe their identity as mortals. I'm just going to say it. Like, if reality is my projection upon things that are changeable, why do I just change things within this box? Why not look at what's really outside the box, completely outside the box without limit? What's at the edges of the universe? Is time also my projection? Is time a changing thing? Yes. Can you remove your experience of time? Yes. How much? All of it. I can be outside of time? Yep. That's what wake-upists are meditating on. The practitioners of this thing, you've heard the color chakra, wheel of time. If I'm outside of time, then you can see yourself what you thought you were in the box of past and what you could be in the future. You're completely outside that. Then the closest metaphor I can think of for that is Joseph Campbell did this. He's like, you think of time or any field of opposite as the globe spinning around its axis facing the sun. And one side is light and the other side is shadow, right? And so time appears that way. But as you get closer to the center, it sort of goes faster and faster and faster and faster until you get to the center. Sorry, slower, slower, and slower, slower. Until you get to the center of the axis, the center of the center of the axis. It's not moving at the center of the center of the center. And yet, from the unmoving, unchanging thing comes this field of time. And if our frame of awareness is on the day and night, good and bad, black and white, field of opposites, you can't have that experience at the core. And that experience at the core in Buddhism would be the ultimate nature of reality, seeing emptiness directly, blah, blah, blah. Yeah? But we're not. We're in the box that says we're in the field of time. So for Buddhists, they're like, dude, I'm meditating on, we'll get rid of jealousy and anger and death and illness and whatever. I'm going outside of time and space and seeing this ultimate nature of me. And in that space, there is stillness and there is everything. There's nothing that is not thing. And so we have a mental and a physical reality. And as a Buddha, as a being who woke up, you still have a mental and a physical reality, but it's not bound by time and it's not bound by the field of opposite because it's a changeable thing. And so you can be boundless, and every being in your world can be nothing but the most angelic Alexis that is forever sharing all the goodness in cough drop forms. Yeah. And every person you walk in the street isn't the way they appear to you only. That's not true, because someone else sees them differently, and someone else sees them differently. So how would you like to see them? That's you. And what box are you going to put on that? And can you get a little bigger? And can you get a little bigger until there's no more box? And that is the wake-uppers game. I don't know if that's making sense. That's what excites me about this practice. I can live a human life and do all the human things, and this body's probably going to do all the human things. My mind can be unbound. And you won't force that experience ever. You'll plant that experience through all the things that you know as Buddhist practice or wake-uppers practices. And it's not, the Buddhists don't own this, by the way. They just wrote it down really well because they were anally retentive, right? No, they're obsessive compulsive about, the mind did this, it moved to the left, or it moved to the right. And how do you get rid of this thing? 84,000 mental afflictions. I don't know anyone else that listed them. And they collapse down to 54, and they collapse down to 21, and they collapse down to the top 10, and they collapse down to the top 3. Top 3 states of mind that create our suffering. Misunderstanding where the world comes from, it doesn't come this way. Alex didn't create that experience in me. It comes this way. From Alex doing something, my mind created a narrative that I wrote a long time ago. And that's the only way I could have seen it. Because I wrote the script. I'm living the script. I'm in character all the time. I couldn't have interpreted it any other way. I wrote that greedy script myself. That's hard to accept because it's easy to say you're the source of my pain. It's easy for Stephen to say it's all your exes that make me feel less than wanted. You don't even know them. But his narrative was very clear. Until he took that responsibility, he was bound in that box of jealousy and I'm never enough. When he broke the walls of that box, as difficult as that is, because no one said it was easy, he was free, really free. Then he got to meet the other 83,999 mental afflictions. He just got rid of one. And we're working on those. No. I'm only saying this because he's not in here. He's out there. So I guess all that to say to you, look, I said lots of things. You can be the universe, right? And you will still have an enlightened mental experience, an enlightened physical reality. But it's not fixed. For those of you that know, who's got a pen? Here comes the last. Everyone's rolling their eyes already. Anyone got a pen? Nice. So, for those of, thank you, Elizabeth. For those of you who have heard this 1,000 times, listen. No. This metaphor is a metaphor for everything, without exception, physical or mental. Okay? So, when we explain the investigation of ultimate reality versus relative reality, the way things we seem to experience things, the illusion, versus the way things really are, ultimate reality, capital R reality, we use this example at 3 joules. We say, what is this? And most of us say pen, right? And we're like, okay, but is it a pen really, capital R really, not little r really? Because it is a pen, I can write with it, right? And so, well, let's look at this object and see if there's any penness emanating from it, radiating from it, forcing an experiencer to see pen. Just look at the object for a second. Is there anything about that shape and color that forces pen to emerge in your mind? And most of us are not trained to look. We just think it's a pen. Shut up, Hector, it's a stupid thing, right? Pen. Buddhists obsess about, well, where is this pen thing coming from? Is it in this object? And we're pretty sure it is. And then an easy logical trick that we use to investigate the nature of this object is to say, well, imagine a puppy dog walking into the room right now and looking at this object. What appears in their mind? And you can discern from their behavior that it's not a pen for them, it is a chew toy. Like they salivate when they see it and they're like, stop using that, stop teasing me with this object, this chew toy, give it to me already. And you're like, because you have a difference of opinion, you're like, stupid dog, don't ruin my pen. But the dog's probably going, stupid human, don't ruin my chew toy. Right? Now, this object is a pen and is a chew toy. Yes or no? Or is it just a pen? Or is it just a chew toy? And your minds are like, I'm not used to thinking about that. I need to go to TikTok. And we're like, no, observe this, because if you understand this, you will understand everything that moves you. So we say, okay, to investigate the nature of this object, because at the moment it can't be two things at once, and we're trying to figure out whether it radiates pen, and there's a section of conscious beings for whom it does not radiate pen, it radiates chew toy. It still appears like this thing is forcing me to see pen. It's forcing them to see chew toy. So that we investigate further in wake-upism and we say, all the dogs leave the room, all the humans leave the room, no beings in the room, and this object sits on the thing we would have called table. That's a joke. What is it then when no one's observing it? And you should have a little, I don't know how to think about that moment. You come up empty. You come up like, I'm not sure. That says this object ain't radiating up pen. It is empty of having penness, the quality of pen. It's also empty of only having the quality of chew toy. Until a dog walks in and then it becomes, for them, a chew toy. And then humans walk in and it becomes, for them, a pen. So then the big question, there's two more questions, and if you follow the logic, you've tasted an exit to the box. Once they all come back and the humans see pen and the dogs see chew toy, you have to ask, is this object radiating pen this way or is pen coming that way? And what's your logical answer? Could this be forcing pen onto everything? Does this have that power? And the answer is, it can't, right? It hurts us to say it because it's dismantling our little box. So is it coming this way or coming that way? And by reasoning, you have to say it's coming this way. Something in the dog's perception is saying chew toy. Something in the human's perception is saying pen. Then the second question is, can we choose that response? Even though it's coming from us, is it within our immediate choice? And your answer is, not really. I can't see anything but a pen. Yeah? We'll try it. Let's try and change it. Make it a golden rod or something. I don't know. You can't change it in the moment. It doesn't negate the fact that you're forced to experience it this way. Dogs are forced to experience it a certain way. So where did pen come from? Somewhere in our mental construct, our narratives, our seeds, created this experience and all the associated feelings that come with penness. Same for the puppy dog. And if you had a choice to experience this object as a pen or as a chew toy, which one would you choose? Which one would be more functional for you? Which one would be more elevated for you? And so if that's the nature of things, they're empty of some intrinsic quality. They are blank screens, and we're forever projecting a reality on everything. This is empty of a nature, projecting plant. That's empty of a nature, projecting wall. This is empty of a nature, projecting sounds. The sounds don't have intrinsic meaning. Something in your mind is framing individually what these words mean and all the implications. That's you're doing, but unconsciously. They don't happen for no reason at all. They happen because of some other part of our narratives in the past. If that's true, then why stay in the box of, I'm going to get rid of just anxiety? I'm going to stay in the frame of time. I'm just going to have a physical body, but my mind will be at bliss. If this is the nature of all things, your mind, your body, this world, then it really is up for complete transformation. And wake-upists obsess about that. They're like, damn, I can have a complete shift of reality and still be here while someone else is having a time that they're trying to get out of jealousy. I can have an experience of being in complete bliss of helping people get out of jealousy and not be hooked by their jealousy and not be suffering with their suffering, but be in a state that invites them not to suffer. And I'm not saying that's what I did with Stephen. I'm using it as an example. Does that resonate with anyone, or is that like boring? I want chew toys. We've got a couple of smiles online. Good. So the point of that whole thing is there's an infinite amount of commentary and practices in this wake-upist system, and they're really not designed to force you to be dogmatic. That's just another box. If I gave you a new blank sheet of paper where you got to write your script of the life you want to live tomorrow and tomorrow and tomorrow, what would you be writing? And that invitation to write your future reality, if you want kindness, if you want love, if you want insight, if you want wisdom, if you want compassion, if you want abundance, whatever it is you would like, you have to write it. It ain't coming to look for you. How do you write it in this system of the matrix, in the big algorithm? Do unto others. Baby Jesus said it. Buddha said it too. Begin to write in your mind the experiences you would like for yourself in those around you that also want them. You want kindness? Become obsessed with helping somebody else feel all the things that kindness would make you feel. You want abundance? Be generous to people who are also looking for abundance, or try and help them get abundant. And you're just recording the script. And then you make sense of all this wake up as practice. There's nothing else. And Buddhists don't own it. No one owns gravity, but the few people that described it helped us understand it. It's the same with wake-upism. No one understands no one owns the way things really work. Everyone can access it if you have a mind. these bastards obsessed about it for 2,500 years and wrote stuff that we could go, oh, that's what meditation's for. Oh, that's what yoga's for. Oh, that's what kindness is for. That's what compassion's for. It's not just because. And to get out of the box, you have to begin to get out of the box. And then eventually you go, that box is too small. And you've got to get out of that box. And that box is too small. And you're going to get out of that box. Until you realize, it's just like Inception. You're within a dream, within a dream, within a dream. At some point, you're like, oh, I can hack the entire system. You only need 2 or 3 goes at reshaping your boxes. You own your future for real. You're not a slave to the reality you're experiencing. You wrote it. You don't remember. I didn't want to see pen. I wanted to see gold bar. All I got was pen. Dog didn't want to see chew toy. He wanted to see pen. He got to see chew toy. There's a long way to go for a puppy to see a pen as a pen. They're stuck in chew toy. And we're stuck in humanness. That's still a box. You can transcend that too. For real. I don't know anything else worth doing anymore. And I think it's because I'm getting old. That's my story, and that's the Hector Show. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining. Am I good on time? Yeah, look at that. Perfect timing. If you want questions, sorry, Sarah, I didn't get to your 1,000 questions. And some of you who did write questions last week, if you go to this QR code, you could just write an anonymous question that can be really specific. And I try and incorporate them when I share something about Buddhist or wake-upist philosophy. Yeah. For those of you who I started this Tuesday night thing for, which are Buddhist practitioners or wake-upist practitioners who wanted a little bit more practical application of the lists we learned thanks to the Tibetans, I hope it served you. I don't know if it's serving you. Please use the QR code and say, can you talk more about why is vow 231 say that you have to be kind to grandma? I'm like, I don't know. I'll try and incorporate it. Yeah, for those of you who are like really trying on this path and taking vows or doing service, etc., go ahead and just, this class originally was for you. And now there's all these Alexes popping in. No. So go ahead and shoot me questions and I'll try and incorporate them. I invite you just to leave tonight and say, what script am I writing in every action I do? Of body, speech, and mind. What's my narrative in my mind? That's recorded somewhere. What am I saying to people? That's recorded in your mind. What do I feel and what's my body doing? That's recorded in your awareness, which will produce your future. I invite you to try and shift it for the next week or so. See what happens. Announcements. Do we still need karma yogis? Yeah? Diego, who's in studio, manages the volunteers that run 3 Jewels. So people put up their hand and want to volunteer, serve at cafe, or do a shift, or do all sorts of things. Any skill that you have that you think would be applicable to a place like 3 Jewels, we're happy to have you. That's how the community exists. It's run by volunteers. If you want to, website? Yeah, there's an application on the website. And what class are you at on Thursday?
We are at 11.9, so almost the end of the middle.
Okay, you doing any summary?
We can wrap it up probably next class.
Okay, so if you want to drop in to a really nerdy Buddhist-y dive into wisdom or not yet?
Right now it's exchanging self and others.
This practice of putting yourself in someone else's shoes to ignite compassion, yeah? Go to Sarah's class and Earl's class on Thursday night. They nearly finished this course. You can just drop in. It's by donation, all free, so whatever you want, go in there. And you're going to get line by line explanation of a text from 700 AD by Master Shantideva and how it applies to today. And you get a real taste of what we like nerding out at 3 Jewels. Everything else is wake up as light. Thursday nights is on steroids, yeah? And I invite you to. I don't know what the rest of your lives are gonna end up like. For some of you, I'll never see again. For some of you, one of us will go first. Yeah, it's probably me. And for others of you, we might be strangers. But I wish every one of you the healthiest, most stunning life experience that you could ever have. Amen. Bye-bye, everyone. Thank you for joining online. Thank you so much, Kelly, for running this. Ninon, it's a pleasure to see you. Anthony and Lily, love you, love you, love you. Actually, and for those of you who are practitioners, meaning you've taken this wake uppers thing deeply, the lady that began 3 Jewels, her name is Annie Palmer. She's probably going to transition out of this world soon, like within a week or so. And she's doing a deep meditation practice. She's practicing Tara. So if you know the Tara mantra, just think of the lady that began the place that we can call home, 3 Jewels. Yeah. And she's in Arizona, and she's a stunning creature. And maybe I'll share what she looks like. Actually, can I do that, Kelly? Thank you. Just so you can see, there she is. I don't know if you can see her. See Debbie? Yeah, do you see it? Yeah, that's her, a nun. Her name is Annie Palmer. Her original name is Debbie. And she's just applying this philosophy through that last transition that humans go through. I speak to her once a week. Her mind is so sharp and so clean and so full of love that I haven't seen many people leave the planet in that state. She's in another realm before going. So wherever her body goes, her mind is about to be unbound, and it's a powerful mind. So just keep her in mind. It'll be a blessing if you're a practitioner. Thanks, everyone. Love. See you at teacher training. Thank you, Koan. Thank you, Nicole. Renata. Missy, I love you. Nice to see you. Ruslan. Furwa. Anthony and Lily, thank you. Dana, nice. Thank you. Love to the Canadians and the Russians and the Ruslans. Okay, bye now. Bye, Nicole.